In the small town of Fruita, Colorado, on a farm owned by Lloyd Olson, a strange and miraculous event occurred on September 10, 1945. Mike, a plump and proud Wyandotte rooster, was destined for the dinner table, but fate had other plans. As Lloyd Olson swung his axe, aiming for Mike's neck, something went awry. The blade missed its mark, and instead of a clean cut, it left Mike with a wounded neck, his head hanging limply by a thread of skin. But here's the astonishing part, Mike didn't die. In fact, he seemed to be doing just fine, pecking at the ground, clucking, and strutting around like nothing was amiss. Lloyd Olson was shocked, amazed, and maybe even a little spooked. He took Mike to a nearby veterinarian, who examined the bird and found that, despite the severe injury, Mike's brain stem and a portion of his skull remained intact. As news of the headless chicken spread, people came from far and wide to witness the phenomenon. Mike became a local celebrity, and his owners, Lloyd and his wife, Clara, capitalized on his fame, taking him on a sideshow tour across the United States. Mike's daily routine consisted of being fed with an eyedropper, and he learned to adapt to his new condition. He could still walk, peck, and even attempt to crow, although the sound was more like a gurgle. As the months passed, Mike's popularity soared. He was featured in newspapers, magazines, and even appeared on television. People were fascinated by the chicken that refused to die. But Mike's fame came with a price. He was constantly prodded, poked, and examined by curious onlookers. His owners had to be careful not to overexert him, as his condition was still precarious. Eventually, Mike's travels took him to the University of Utah, where scientists studied him extensively. They discovered that Mike's brain stem was still functional, controlling his basic functions, but his lack of a head made him unable to regulate his body temperature or experience sensations like pain. As Mike's fame grew, so did his entourage. Lloyd and Clara Olson hired a team of caretakers to tend to Mike's every need. They built a special trailer for him, equipped with a miniature bed, a feeding system, and even a tiny toilet. Mike's daily routine was a marvel of efficiency. His caretakers would feed him a mixture of milk, water, and ground-up food using an eyedropper. They'd gently clean his wound, apply antibiotic ointment, and cover it with a tiny bandage. Despite his condition, Mike remained a feisty and curious bird. He'd peck at his food, explore his surroundings, and even attempt to crow, although the sound was more like a gurgle. His owners claimed that Mike could still understand commands and would respond to his name. As Mike traveled the country, he became a beloved attraction. People would pay good money to see the headless chicken, and Mike's owners would often donate a portion of the proceeds to local charities. Mike's popularity inspired a range of merchandise, from t-shirts to postcards, featuring his likeness. He even had a theme song, Mike the Headless Chicken, which became a surprise hit. But Mike's fame wasn't without controversy. Some people accused Lloyd and Clara Olson of exploiting their feathered friend for financial gain. Others claimed that Mike's condition was a result of animal cruelty. Despite these criticisms, Mike's owners maintained that they were providing the best possible care for their beloved bird. They consulted with veterinarians and animal experts to ensure Mike's well-being and even built a special ramp for him to climb onto his trailer. As the years passed, Mike became a cultural icon, symbolizing resilience and adaptability. He inspired countless adaptations, from films to books, and remains one of the most bizarre and fascinating tales in the annals of animal history. Mike's remarkable story came to an end on March 17, 1947, when he choked to death in a motel room in Phoenix, Arizona. His owners had been on tour with him, and Mike's airway had become clogged, causing him to suffocate.